you came up with the name Shadow Box. Now you're talking about repetition and consistency.
I'm just always shadow. Well, I lot less than at the minute, like I've been that busy, but I just always shadow boxing, mate. Bat had me missus' head with it, really.
Right, we're cooking. There's Always a Way podcast. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problem.
I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Carl. Local lad from Newcastle. Head coach at Shadowbox Martial Arts. Yeah, pretty easy going. Been in Newcastle my whole life. Trained since I was a young lad. And yeah, just moved up to Blythe when I was 10, 11ish. But I just got my roots back down to Walker, Newcastle, where I'm from, and came back down and got back to grips with my roots, really, mate. And then just give a bit back to the community and went from there. So I met yourself.
Yeah. And obviously I've been, training Shadowbox for a good couple of years, all the way to blue belt in kickboxing, with my sensei. So
Mad here on speak called the sensei, like.
So just talk to us about your earliest memories of your introduction to martial arts, shall we say. What was your first memories of walking into a gym?
I mean, if I'm honest with you, mate, it's something I've done my whole life, so it's kind of been like...
Yeah.
First memory of a gym would be karate. I mean, some karate, kickboxing, and mainly went into boxing. Mum took us to a local gym when I was younger. I just tried a bit of everything, so it was good at keeping us active, and trampoline and gymnastics and things. I was never very good at that, scared of breaking my arms and that. My cousin was really, really high level of it, and she was always in a cast and that.
Yeah.
Like a really high level in that. My mum was up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, getting her running and stretching and like really putting her through it, and she was really, really good, but she was always kind of like in a cast and that, and it was always like, done a bit of trampoline and that, and I never really enjoyed anything, but I was always like Bruce Lee, Benny the Jet, Jackie Chan, Ninja Turtles, Jean-Claude Van Damme. It was all just like, being an early 90s kid, it was on the back end of the 80s, the big kind of, it was kickboxing was huge. It was a massive compared to what it is now, especially kickboxing. K1, obviously, 1FC and things done it well, but it was huge. My dad was boxing mad, my uncles were martial art mad, so it was just always something I'd always enjoyed. I remember watching Mike Tyson beating Frank Bruno. I was like, I must have only been 4 or 5, something young. I mean, then I always say, if everybody remembers, just like screaming at the telly thinking I was scared, but I was like wanting to watch it and like getting that excited by it. And just constantly always involved in it, mate. So when I went to a gym, it was always like anything when you're a kid, you always remember being a bit scared and that. And then you just go to different gyms, and then you start realising you're a bit more experienced, and then you go to one boxing club, and then they're like, oh, you boxed before, and they can say it, and then you start getting a bit more involved and stuff, and then people ask you, oh, can you help the newbie and things like that, and then how long you kickboxed for and all these other bits and things like that. So it was just, my uncles were very much, got pictures when I was a kid of gloves up here and stuff, all his equipment and stuff, and just something I've always been around me, Got bullied as well quite a lot when I was younger. Yeah. So, it was always something that, like, it didn't really build confidence in us until I was older, to be honest with you. It's a bit of a... you're not going to get bullied if you've boxed. My dad was always frustrated with it. Hit them back, don't let yourself get bullied and stuff, and obviously it's hard for your parents to watch the kid get bullied and things. That was quite bad, but you start getting a bit more confidence as you get older, and I think your body language changes and things like that, and I try and tell the kids that are in the gym, you've got 3 forms of communication. You've got your mouth, your eyes, and then your body language, and I think you just become more confident, and then you just become deeper and deeper into it, mate,
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of the very few things I was all right at.
Yeah, because I remember George St. Pierre was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was saying his introduction to martial arts was because he got bullied, and he turned it around to the point of become one of the best ever.
The best in my opinion.
Yeah, negative into positive. And then you realise, I think, when you actually go into a fight gym, well, a combat sports gym, should I say, how little knowledge the next man on the street has of combat sports, So, did it give you a lot of confidence when you started getting, handy to everything?
I mean, it did and it didn't, mate. I mean, if I'm going to say, I think, I like saying it makes you kind of realise how vulnerable the local, or like the average civilian is, It's like, most people that haven't trained, you realise how kind of vulnerable they are, but at the same time, it's not something to be used as a weapon. It's not a weapon, we tell the kids, we're not weaponising you. It's something we want to use as respect and use when need be. I've stopped I can't remember the last street fight I had, mate. Martial arts, it controls your emotions and makes you realize. I'll be honest with you, mate. It's kind of to me anyway. You kind of think to yourself, you've got a bit of an obligation not to just. I mean, you've got your future to think about as well. You can hit someone and hit the head, and that's it. Things will change forever, but you've got it's wasted energy, mate. You want to kind of be positive, and the more you're self-focusing on, kind of flaunting it a little bit more. There's a fine line between confidence and cockiness.
Yeah.
And I think that if you start flaunting it and cross that line, you can come across as a bit of a dick. Do you know what I mean? But the confidence kind of, like I said, kind of came later on with, realising not made of glass.
Yeah.
Kids, I wasn't a bad lad, but I was definitely a little wind up. So, getting a few corrections off your dad and things like that. Kids don't really hit hard until he was about 16. You start, I remember getting hit once when I was in year 6, and I thought to myself, really? But I didn't have the confidence to do anything back, because you stand there with 5 of his friends and some of them are holding your arms and things like that, and you're like, well, if I'm going to get a lot worse. I always used to fear the repercussions of something happening afterwards. But then again, like I was saying before, mate, I think just life experience, you start, people say something to you, then they see in your eyes, you're not going to back up. You are you are about that. A lot of the people think they're about that life, and they come to someone that doesn't necessarily have to go crazy and start shouting and screaming and start saying that, well, there's 2 ways it can go. I might get a hiding, but I'm definitely open to that. And they start saying I've had my horse handed, it was in the gym many times, so it's not like anything new. I mean, but you've got to kind of go to a different place, as anyone will tell you. And I think that when they see that, it kind of just oozes that confidence, I think, mate. I think I taught to articulate, if I'm honest with you, because obviously it's me. It's, ask any fighter, trainer, coach, whatever. They don't exactly go out there with the chest puffed out. They go out there thinking, well, I'm just going to go and do what I love and teach people, and then people kind of just see the confidence. And I think in terms of handy, mate, I know where I sit in the universe, and I know how handy I am compared to a lot of lads. I know how handy I'm not, and there's weight categories for a reason. My aim is to train people to a point where they're far superior to what I ever was or am. And then I've done my job properly. I'm not about I want to be the best in there. I want to make sure I'm training me lot to get that level of confidence where they're not flaunting it, and they're just confident within themselves,
Yeah.
That's what I feel like anyway. I'm just confident with myself, rather than flaunting it.
100%. How long do you think it takes for someone? I know this is quite subjective, but how long would you take it? How long would you say it takes someone to become sort of at a decent level to the basics?
It depends, mate. I mean, there's a lot of factors to that. It depends on how naturally you are. Some people can watch something once, do it half decent, they do it twice, they're doing it as good as the coach. They do it a third time, they're doing it better. It's rare, but then you get a lot of people where they're just very, very natural at it, but then they only show up once in a blue moon because they know that they think, oh, well, that'll get us to any level, but it'll get you so far.
Yeah.
We always say, hard work will always surpass talent. It's a longer process than people think.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think people think the idea of, I've got to go on and put the work in. But even understanding your basics, your fundamentals, your jabs, your low kicks, your knees, your blocking system, your distance, it's a lot of time to put in. It's a lot as far as being able to protect yourself, like you were saying, against your local, untrained person.
Yeah.
Put graft in for 6 to 9 months. You're not going to be under that average anymore. But then you've got to understand that a lot of people after they've trained for 6 to 9 months think they're a lot more ahead than they are sometimes. In belts can sometimes mess that up, if I'm honest with you, from what I've seen. I think if you start fast tracking people through belts, it can be a dangerous thing to do. Because no one, especially in the gyms that I've seen, no one says to anyone, he has a black belt, but it's an aerobatic black belt, or it's a form black belt where you can, you can do a sequence, you can do a 25 move sequence, and you can do it with correct form. But in terms of using that in real life and actually using it to defend yourself, I've seen a lot of people who are 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th dan black belts who are just, no disrespect, I've seen lads and lasses who are 16-year-old who've been in boxing and kickboxing gyms who could quite easily handle them. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's 2 forms of a black belt, in my opinion. I think there's a fighter's black belt, and I think there's a form black belt, and I think there's you can't really say, well, they're not a black belt because they've had no competitions. It's still an art of it. That's martial arts.
Yeah.
But I think you can also say, well, I've never had a belt in my life and I've had 31 fights and I was ex-champion, I was ex-Golden Gloves, whatever, I think. So it's like, it's kind of where people have their form in the gym, their symbol. But I think a lot of it's about understanding that the belts are more representative of fighting, the more like about your dedication, your commitment, your teamwork, your attitude in the gym. Are you a bully? Are you holding your weight around? Are you willing to help people? Are you willing to take a step back and help the newbie in class? Little things like that. I think it takes, if I was to put an average on it, mate, I would say give yourself a good year. And a year's a long time. People do 6 weeks and they think, whoa, I've had a good little stint there, but then the next thing they need to, that's kind of the point where people generally drop off. Just keep pushing, just keep on grafting, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, Christ, it's been 2 years and I've been on 3 days a week on average, because people will say I've been training 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. You condense the days to 5 day weeks, 4 day weeks. I've probably been training 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had a few in our gym. I've been here 3 years. You've probably trained about 9 months. Yeah. If you condense your days,
So, obviously, you study a lot of pretty much all the disciplines. You've got kickboxing,
a lot of them,
jiu-jitsu. Which one's your favourite? Or do you have a favourite?
It depends, mate, what do you prefer, Sunday dinner or a steak?
Yeah.
It depends on the day, do you know what I mean? I don't know, I love them all, mate. I love K1, I love boxing, I love jiu-jitsu, I love the gi, I love the aspect of the gi, but then I love no gi. I prefer no gi. I love watching no gi jiu-jitsu. I love the idea of, being able to manhandle a larger man. But again, there's weight divisions for a reason, mate. If me and you are equally as skilled in jiu-jitsu, I'm going to have a harder time with you because of your weight and your skill. Whereas if you're, no disrespect, a novice on the floor, then that's how you'll see, how do you know so much? I don't know loads. I'm low-level blue belt, high-level white belt in gi. Anyone that knows anything about gi will tell you it's just getting started. Yeah. And I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. No gi, I'm slightly higher level. But it's like American football and rugby, it's two completely different things. What keeps you... I think I seen a really good quote the other day with jiu-jitsu was someone that could, like myself, going against the black belt in no gi, I could probably, in 5 minutes, I'd probably get submitted 3 to 4 times, maybe more, depending on the level of black belt. Whereas in gi, I'm not doing anything in 5 minutes, with a black belt. In gi, you wouldn't even think I've done jiu-jitsu before. Even you look at me sometimes go, oh, Carl, you're really good, and before said, there's levels to it, and a black belt could, tie me up with a purple belt, you know what I mean? And that's what kind of irritates sometimes with UFC and that in MMA, where people crowd or booing or someone, it's boring when they're this, you don't even understand what you're looking at half the time. It's, what's going on there is so high level that if they weren't equally as high level as each other, it would just be a dominant performance. But it's not, you've got to be really into it. I'm one of them ones where I'm like a Joe Rogan, I want no rounds. I want no time. I want, if you're taking them, you've got to get up. I could quite happily sit there and watch them on the ground for 25 minutes, but it's not fan friendly. That's why the rounds are in place. And I think if I was to put one, I'd say MMA is my favourite. Yeah. At the minute, I'm watching a lot of no-gi jiu-jitsu, mate, if I'm honest with you, at the minute. I've watched boxing endless amounts and K1, but at the minute, probably no-gi jiu-jitsu. And I think MMA is the most exciting. I like watching Thai, but I don't teach Thai. Yeah. I like watching Muay Thai. It's exciting. Yeah.
It's probably the most sort of best aspect of stand-up, I think. Well, it's definitely the most violent.
There's that. I mean, they get paid the most for that because of the risk factor, Yeah. I think I might be speaking out of turn there, but I think it's at a local level, I know anyway, the Thai style generally gets paid more. Yeah. Because of obviously the brute force and the violence of it,
Yeah. So, you've been a coach for quite a while now, and you're a very good one, might I say.
Oh, thank you.
And was coaching something you fell into, or was it something you had in mind from the start?
No, I just completely fell into it. I was pretty selfish, obviously, as a fighter. Anyone will tell you that I was training, and everyone, wanted to get in the UFC or one day and this, that, and the other. And you've got to be really selfish as a fighter. Obviously, it's a team sport. But you get there with your team, but obviously it's an individual sport, I should say. But you've got your team around you. Yeah. You don't get to them heights without your team. I'm one of them ones where I wouldn't fight him on my team.
Yeah.
You know, people say, "Oh, what about money?" There's a big difference at the minute. You both sitting here living the life. You get 20 million and I get 20 million. We're probably going to fight. But I think there's a bit more of that. Once you're comfortable in life, I can hand on heart say, like, I don't think there'd be a position that I would get into to be able to fight one of my pals.
Yeah.
Because it's a different mindset you've got to get into to try and hurt people. I can't even spar my mates. I hate sparring my mates. I hate my brothers even worse. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of that, mate, I think it's, I don't know.
So just touching on what you said there, you said there's a different mindset you've got to get into. What is that mindset, would you say, for yourself anyway?
Everyone's different, lad. I've seen people have a smile on their face right up to it. I've seen people have to get into a completely different zone. A lot of people handle weight cuts really well. A lot of people don't, depending on how much they're cutting. For me, it's a lot of the time it's very much like a Nick Diaz mindset, where it's like kind of kill or be killed. If you're going to fight, we're not having fun as much as people want to put a label. This is just my opinion. This is just how I look at it. It's why I haven't competed much recently, and I've got no kind of plan. I mean, if it pops up, one would pop up, but if I'm well trained and I was injury free and things, it's a potential option, you know. But I've got nothing to prove to myself, Liam. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like, it's a different kind. For me, it's a lot. It's like, I sit around weight all the time. I stay pretty, you know, well in shape and stuff. I don't like walk around 60 odd kilo and have to cut down. I'll stay around roughly weight I would fight at. But for me, it's kind of like, it's a dark place that you'd have to go to in your head, because you've got to like turn it on. Like a bit, Michael Bisping used to do some of the things. He would like have to create a problem. Yeah. You know, like you've referenced GSP before. GSP is one of the nicest blokes in the world. My missus doesn't even like MMA, but she liked GSP. You know, whenever she's seen him with a gentleman, he was always saying, and you can't not like GSP. Yeah. But then Bisping was saying he had to kind of put himself in a position where he created something too. Mine's kind of like, you're going to try and take your head off in front of me friends and family, and I don't really see much of a sport of that. That's why the sport for me is martial arts. Fighting is completely different. That's why I don't do it much, because it's not something, as mad as it sounds, I don't like fighting. Yeah. You know, I don't like fighting. I don't like the mindset you've got to get into. I don't like the nerves that come with it. Because you've got to accept that stuff. I mean, the nerves, it's something that's going to come. You need the nerves. Yeah. But it's something that you've got to accept. You might get your arse handed to you. You've got to be willing for that. And you've got to accept that it could happen, as well as accepting that you might put him out quick. And that's what, for me, you've got to go out there and put him away before he puts you away. And that's what most of the lads are training to do, which they should, and lasses. So it's a bit of a weird mindset again for me. Yeah. It's a bit of a different one. I don't really see how people can completely change. You see people that completely change and they get the last few weeks, maybe because of like hungry, because of low on calories. But for me, certainly, it's a bit of a darker place. I would always have to go to fight someone, you know, and we're not friends until after the fight, kind of thing. Yeah. You know, we're there to hurt each other. So,
do you think with fighting you either got it or you don't?
Yeah, I think you can push through. I think a lot of the misconception is if people don't fight, they can't. I think a lot of people fight when they shouldn't. I think, you know, you hear that, you've got to show respect. You know, everyone gets in the ring, well, it's, you know, you've got to give respect. And you do, but I think a lot of people there's a lot of ringers that'll take hand-picked fights. You see lads fighting at a much lower standard than they should be. So that I don't really respect, if I'm honest. I look at that and I think, well, look, yeah, if you went in there with someone that you're not, yeah, you might be very confident you're going in there with the mindset to win, but I've seen a lot of times where people just shouldn't be anywhere close to the ring with someone else, and they go in there and get liberties taken on them, you know, and you've got to kind of question the matchmaking on that and think, well, you know, what were you trying to accomplish there with that? Yeah. So yeah, I think people can push through, but I think people are aware of that as well. I think people take fights a lot of time for the wrong reasons. Not a lot of time, but sometimes they'll take fights, I'm going to have a fight, and it's like, to me, a fight's, you know, I've been training my whole life. I'd want to fight someone half decent. I wouldn't just go on and fight someone that's new just to get a fight in. So I can have a win in front of my friends and make myself feel. It's not, I've got nothing to gain from that. But then a lot of people just absolutely genuinely love it. You know, they live for it. They want to fight. They need that in their life. If they're not, there's a lad a minute, and I think he's in Cage Warriors. Short, stocky lad, mullet, redhead lad, ginger, hits like absolute true. You've got to touch of death with the left hand. Yeah. One of the most exciting fights I've ever seen. His last one, I think it was. And I seen a clip of him, and he was like, "I need to eat. You know, I'm getting hungry. I think he like had like a postpone."
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not like that. Like, I'm just like, lad, I wouldn't. I don't envy in that sense. But good luck to you. Like, you know, if that's what mindset you're in. But some people just genuinely do need it in their life. You know.
How important is fear going into a fight? Well, healthy.
For me, I mean, I don't mind saying it, mate. I was always scared of, but that's what gets us through it. You know, I train harder because of that. I always train out to. I'd have always, like, even now, if I was going to fight, I'd be training in ways I'd imagine ways that I'd be losing and then train so that didn't happen. You know, I think you need the fear. I think the fear would push me to train and out-train my opponent. I think people need the fear for the nerves to keep sharp. Yeah, I think some people say, I don't get nerves anymore. The only ones I believe, because obviously we don't know if people are how genuine that, but the only ones I do genuinely believe they don't get scared anymore are people who have had like just endless amount of fights. You know, you've got that lad fighting every weekend, Dyson. And I don't think he would get nervous. It probably gets like
jitters, but
but it's just like a routine for him. I think I heard he fought like 4 times in one weekend.
Aye.
Which I can't imagine you get nervous at that point.
No.
Much, but I mean, you're taking a lot of damage to the head still. You know, you've got to look at it. I think, like I say, I think fear. Yeah, most people have got it and they use it to the. There's a lot of famous speeches about it. You know, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Fear's like fire, can burn you, keep you warm. John Jones always said he used to thrive on it. You know, GSP. You know, he thrives on it. I think everyone. Nick Diaz, my hero. He used to get terrified, but he would turn it into aggression, he would turn it into fuel, you know, and then go in there with a mindset he wanted to kill them. Because, like I say, as much as people say they love it, mate, I've never seen anyone love it when they're getting mounted and someone's dropping elbows or, you know, or they're getting...
I'm glad you said elbows after getting mounted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can always do an oil check or something, but it's like, you know, people always have a funny face of that. It's like, I mean, I remember once watching Mark Hunt fight, and Mark Hunt's one of my favourite fighters. Ex-Pride fighter, just amazing striker. And I think he was fighting, I think it might have been Bigfoot or something in UFC years ago. And no reason not to, but at one point he like turned and ran away. And that's Mark Hunt. You know, he's like turns and like runs at one point, like for like a split second, maybe forgot where he was, but turns and runs and then turns back and engages again. But it was like, oh, there it is. Do you know what I mean? That like that primal, I want to get away from this. Because it is intimidating, mate, when someone's on top of you and you see them starting to drop elbows and dropping hands, and even in training, you're like, I mean, it's picking it up a bit in training, you're like, you know, so,
Because there's a lot of people out there that see admitting they're afraid as a weakness. I don't. I personally think there's a difference between being afraid and getting in there and do it than being afraid and not doing it. And that's what...
So you've got to break through that wall, mate. You've got, you know, yourself, you've made the walk, you know, and like yourself, massive respect for that. You're a novice fighter, you didn't know what's going to happen. You were like, I might get beat, I might not, but I'm going to go in there and try my hardest. And that's the kind of thing, you're both novices going in there. That's you'll always show respect on that, regardless of the outcome, you know. But in terms of like, sorry, I digressed. What was the answer? What question am I?
It was just about sort of like the mentality. Like, I think people think it's a weakness to admit they're afraid when I
remember you telling me, you were saying I'm a bit nervous, and that's good. You need that, lad, and it's good that you're willing to admit that, because a lot of people, and when I was talking about before, people who don't get scared, I think they're a really, really, really small minority. Because I think the majority of people are saying, oh, no, I don't get nervous. I think they're full of it, like, you see it in the eyes, the demeanour, the body language changes. And, you know, you went out there with the confidence of thinking, I'm going in for a competition, I'm going in for a fight, I'm going to give it me all, but I might get beat. And you still made the walk, so you've kind of broke down that barrier. It's a big thing, that, Liam, because a lot of people won't. You know? Well, it's the embarrassment. It's a lot of the time now, there's the way the social media is, I mean, you end up a meme, you know, and that you could end up, there was a lad in Blythe, he's done this amazing head kick. Shout out to Millennium Gym. John, he's a good pal of mine, John Kearns, and he done this head kick. He's like a good pal. I know the lad isn't a great, he's just a lovely lad. But when he was active, he done this head kick, and I think you hear his coach shout head kick, and he just pop, hits it, and it's just it's beautiful. I mean, the sweat flies off the kid, and it went viral. I'd have hated to have been that lad, bless him. You know, the poor lad, he got in there, made the walk. And he would have done it to John. So this is what I'm saying. It's like, there's nothing fun about that to me.
Yeah.
You know, so when you've went in, that could have happened to you, and you could end up with a meme. But you've got to break past that wall and just go, you did.
Yeah.
You say, well, look, anyone that knows anything about it, you got knocked out, and it means someone like us will just scroll past it, mate, because it's just idiots making like that naivety saying, oh, well, it's like you probably don't have the balls to make the walker you made, but you're quick enough to make a quick video on him and take the piss out of him.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that. People don't want the embarrassment, which isn't fair, because people are putting a lot of work in and they shouldn't have that around the neck, but they do.
Yeah.
You've also got the other sides might be screaming you're going to get, you know, smashed. You can, this that, knock them out, this that, and the other, and it's a kind of different environment to walk into, mate. You know, it's a kind of different environment, like.
Yeah. So in terms of your coaching, how would you describe your coaching style?
I mean, mate, trying to be.
You're very fucking direct.
I mean, I'm trying.
You will tell a spade from a spade, like.
I'm trying not to obviously mix. I'm trying to not mix my words too much. And yeah, I'm trying. You know, it's. I think you've just got to. For me, mate, I'll just speak freely. It's just not going around the bullshit as much. You know, instead of going like this around something, and just you may as well just be direct. As long as there's nothing wrong with being direct and straight with people, as long as you're not a dick with it, you know.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being direct and being aggressive.
Yeah.
You know. I just think that I like to try and teach clinical stuff, so things that are going to, you know, make sure you can, at more of a professional level as opposed to an amateur, in and out, in and out, in and out. I would like to try and walk people down, keep the pressure game, counter strike, clinical shots, putting things together, repetition of things. You know, and you're not getting good at thousands of things. You're going to practice a handful of things thousands of times, as we've heard many times. You know, and I think that's I think doing that and making the right kind of yields, know yourself. I think there's a balance between going up, and I've heard coaches say, "Oh, just let them get to it. Just let them, you know, they learn by reps." Well, they don't learn by reps if they're repping it the wrong way, and that's a balance I think you've got to find. You can't sit there and say like yourself, Liam, rotate the shoulder, rotate the heel when you turn, and make sure you turn on the waist properly, follow through. Off the follow through, make sure you dip in the head, find that there's loads of bits of information there. So you let you go for a few weeks of getting used to it, and then you can make a little adjustment. And even start pivoting the foot like when you're crossing, make sure you're sitting through. Yeah. You're doing that well. Right now, just start moving the head. And then, you know, people are like, well, you can't coach everyone in a class because you're going to spend too much time with individuals. Yeah. But then you can't just go up and make little adjustments or non-adjustments, because then no one's going to get too much better. Whereas at the same time, I think if you go on and make little adjustments, 10, 15 seconds, just do this, making sure they're getting a pat on the back, a genuine one, but making sure also if they're doing something wrong, because people respect it more as well if you come up and say, lad, look, this is great, but you know, to make this as good as that, just start focusing on this. You haven't got to worry about that at the minute. That's great. Focus on this class. Just do one thing this class and focus on that. Yeah. You know, and I think over time, well, we've started to see it. That's where the standard starts to, especially for like being a new gym, you know, we're still crawling in the standard of some of the people who are consistent. It really, really starts to develop, you know. So yeah, I think just being direct with people, being able to deal with a lot of different demographics helps. Yeah. I've seen a lot of owners who can deal with like, you know, one or two or maybe a handful of demographics, and the gym's full of them kind of people. We're very much big on the whole no ego. It's a cliche, but you know yourself, there's no ego in our gym. Like we don't have that. It's no one's more special than the next. And yeah, just making a family environment, mate. Being fair but firm. Not trying to find my weight about, and I'm boss. We're just there training and like-minded people training together, but always trying to be at the best standard. Do you know what I'm saying? At the best standard you can, and being passionate. If my coaches aren't passionate, I've told them this then, that I think any head coach would say the same. If my coach is showing you less than 100%, I'll kick them out the gym so fast the head will spin. Yeah. Because people are paying for more than that. And touching on when you said, mate, how did coaching start? I just literally started coaching my brother when he was young. Aye. It was just teaching my brother how to box. Yeah. Because I didn't want him to get bullied and things like that. And then he did a little bit same thing. He had a good fight, but he didn't have the confidence to show it. And then he stood up with them a lot earlier than I did, because he had a bigger brother and things. And I think one day he just says, some kid had said to him, I'll hit you. And he says, well, we'll do it now after school. And I think his demeanour had changed. And the kid had got a shock. And then sure enough, Ryan realised very quickly, my little brother, that this kid couldn't fight. Like you were saying, he was how vulnerable the kid was. And then you're seeing a change. And then I started training other people, going to different jobs. And then people would find out, they see your food prepped, and then they see you train, and then, oh, can I come to the gym with you and train them? And then one client turns into 5 and 13, and then that's how we opened up.
Aye. So you came up with the name Shadow Box. Now you're talking about repetition and consistency. Now there is a bit of a story behind why I call it Shadow Box. Would you tell that story?
Yeah, I'm just always shadow. Well, a lot less than at the minute, like I've been that busy, but I just always shadow boxing, mate. Battered me missus's head with it, really. I've got ADHD, like pretty bad. It's definite. And if I can't do something, like I'm pretty determined to be able to get it. Yeah. So it was like the head and ball string. I couldn't do it. They're really hard compared to what you think. And I was like, well, I must not go to sleep. I'll just stand here all night and do this until I can. Literally. So I was like, I'll get 100. And then an hour and a half later, I was regretting it, because I was like, there was a pool of sweat around us in the kitchen. And my missus come and she's like, what, are you still going? And I'm like, I'm not stopping. I was up like, I kept feeling like 80. And I've got this stupid in my head, like, right, well, if you mess up, you've got to start again. Yeah. So I just kept going, and obviously anyone that practices for that long is going to get half decent at it. So then, like, I think 2 hours later, I had 100. And then I'm pretty decent on it, and then people, and then same with shadow boxing. My missus is constantly, if I was watching something, or I wanted to perfect something, or I wanted to get better, I would go train, go to the gym afterwards, maybe weight lift or whatever, swim, and then I'd go home and I'd do a bit heavy bag work, and then I would shadow box for like a good hour. And I just found that, like, especially in COVID, you know, I was shadow boxing loads, because it's all you could really do. And I have just always been doing it, mate. I don't know, it's like, it's a bit silly really, but I just always shadow box. So my missus were just trying to find out names, and we nearly called it Lights Out, but then one of my mates had opened the gym called Lights Out, and I was like, well, I can't do that anymore. And then there was another one, I forget the name, and just one day it was like, the light bulbs went on my missus' head. She was like, Shadow Box MMA, and I was like, I love that. I really like it, like shadow box MMA. It's unique to me, and
yeah, definitely.
I think it's got a bit of a spin on it as well. Yeah, it's definitely unique, isn't it? And everyone's always saying me gym whenever they see me a shadow box. That's what I like.
I saw from opening the gym, you've had probably quite a couple of proud moments. You from, you know, whether it be building it from the ground up, literally you're opening it, watching students develop into, you know, a decent level for your coaching, or whether it be walking them down for the first fight. What would you say has been your proudest moment so far in your career?
Honestly, I didn't expect this either, is seeing the change in people, like. Yeah. You touched on there, obviously, like the level of people in my gym. Compared to, like, you know, experienced gyms out there, 10, 15 year, 20 year gyms plus, there's a big difference in the standard of my gym to theirs still, because obviously even the consistent lot have been training about 2 or 3 years. But there is a big difference in the level of them from where they started off. Yeah. And even like the other coaches have noticed how much they actually have upgraded. And that's a big thing, like which I didn't think it would be. Is I knew it would be good to see someone change and all that, but like I said when I touched on coaching before, I trained my brother to be a good boxer. But I've taught him his whole life. He's 23, my brother now. So it's like I've taught him his whole life, and he's a lovely lad. He gets on with everyone. So that's all I really wanted, just from protecting. Don't want him to fight. Just want to protect myself. But then you see it with the kids. You see some of them coming in getting bullied, and you can see the whole body language. It's like they're a victim, and they shouldn't be. They're just a nice person. The kids, the parents did a good job with them, but they've never said to them, look, if anyone picks on you, just smash them in the mouth. Because they'll either hit your back or they won't bully you anymore. Yeah. And if you hit them nice under the nose, you're probably going to split the mouth open. You know, aim here. The kids are probably not going to like that, and then you won't get any more. Don't worry about it. If someone's picking on you and you hit them back, you're not going to get told off your dad or your mum. If I was a parent, that's what I'd be saying. But you don't use it as a weapon and don't abuse it. Yeah. Likelihood is it'll stop. A child actually doing that's a completely different thing. My dad used to say it to me all the time, look, if they hit you, just use your boxing. And I was like, yeah. But I'm scared of repercussions. You see the kids coming in with the same thing, and then like the eyes change, the body language change, they get a bit of confidence. You've got to rein some of them in. You want to, if they were a bit older, like if it was you, we'd say, Liam, remember it wasn't long ago, you were very quiet, quite subdued in how you were getting picked on. All it took you 6 months of training, and all of a sudden you're being a bit leery, you know. So you've got to rein them in a little bit, but it's nice to see the change in them when the parents come in, and I don't even mind the ones that come in for like 6 months. the parents come in, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening to them. And then they'll say, oh, they're going to go into football now or something like that. And you can see they never really wanted to like train kickboxing per se or boxing. They just wanted to learn how to defend themselves. And when they get to a point where they do maybe, you know, green or a blue belt, they then go, actually, I'm not made of glass. They realise that they're not vulnerable as they thought because they've sparred a little bit, just touch rounds, nothing mad. And then some of them will drift off. And even then you're like, well, at least that way they've got a little bit about them now and they don't feel the victim. You know, that's a really good feeling, like, which I didn't expect as much. Yeah. You know, someone like yourself watching you come in, no disrespect, you couldn't punch when you first came in properly. You could punch, you're a big lad, wouldn't no one want to hit off you, you know, 85 kilo plus lad. But then you start seeing your technique, you're getting crisper, you're training with the lads at Northern Kingston, which is great. You know, they know what they're doing and some. And then you come into our place training and then you're getting that variant and you can see you're improving. And my missus has said it, the coaches has discussed you. Like, you know, Liam's listening and you can see it, your chat stance has changed and that's good, mate, because then at least, like, when you do go into these other gyms, Northern Kings, you go to anyone's gym, they'll see that you're upgrading and they'll probably feel the same. Oh, look, Liam's improving. And it's a better feeling than you think, mate, honestly. Like,
yeah, 100%.
It is. Especially for someone that came from, like I said at the start, being quite selfish. In the sport, you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to coach people. There's a certain mindset for that. No, I think anyone can coach if you've got the passion to, like.
Yeah, definitely. You are one passionate guy about the sort of, it's your...
I hope that never goes.
Like, if someone was to, I've said this to you before, if someone was to say to me, describe Carl Forrest, I would just say martial artist. That's how I would describe it. Yeah, so...
I like that. Change it to ninja.
Samurai. God, it's freezing. Yeah, so who was the first student you walked to the ring? And can you sort of describe what that was like?
Well, it was a lad, Simon. Simon's still a mate of mine now. It was years ago. He was... I don't think he'd mind us saying this story. Well, and this isn't me being cocky, this is just what happened. We got on really well with it. He was very straight and direct, Simon, he still is. He's very straight and direct. And long story short, me and my dad were sitting next to each other at work one day and we're seeing him shouting at this lad. The same lad deserved to be shouted at, but we didn't know what had happened in more like, he's a bit aggressive. And he was really, really giving it this, you know. And anyone that knows Simon will tell you he's very, very direct and he's a lovely lad, but he's very, very direct. And I says to me, Dad, I hope he doesn't talk to me like that, man. I says he's a bit aggressive. And my dad's like, he's 50-odd-year-old bloke, quite proud, you know. He was like, I can't handle him talking. There's a certain way to talk to people at work, and that's not it, like. And then we got an email from one that says, oh, watch yourself and all that. He's quite, you know, he's got a bit of a temper on that. And he's only my height, so he's not really a big lad or nothing, but he's got this email come out saying, I'm having this white collar boxing fight, if anyone wants any sparring, let us know. You know, so it's like an email to everyone. So I was like, all right, Sam, then obviously these are all from Sunderland, and we're from obviously Newcastle, so, but I'm not into football at all, you know. If you told us Shiva still played for Newcastle, I'd be like, oh, Sam, I wouldn't know. So I... obviously they were like, oh, Geordie's all this, and Geordie's like, lads, I'm not bothered with football at all, like. And they were like, oh, this, that, and the other. So then he come up and I replied back, they replied all saying, aye, mate, no, I'll have a spar with you, this, that, and the other, if you're fighting soon. So you come up and he was like looking round and he's like, I've given him a nod. So you come over and he was like, you call Forrest? And I was like, aye. He says, you box, like? I says, a little bit, aye. And he goes, I'm good, I'm all right, you know, I've been training a while. I says, oh, sound. He says, want to spar the night? I says, aye, so I says, do you know this area? No. I says, well, there's just the exercise for this, and this is when the exercise for this had the cages in there and that, you know. So you could just go in there and spar. And we went in and sparred, and it was quite evident that he hadn't trained a lot, you say. But he was getting trained off a lad up in Sunderland. Is that Colin Fletcher?
Oh, yeah.
The freak show used to be in. He was in Tough.
Kid, he was in actually made the UFC.
I don't know if he made the UFC.
Early stages.
I think he was in Tough, I know that. But he was training with him. And obviously he's a more Muay Thai MMA. So when he saw having a boxing fight, he come and sparred with me, and I says, look, I'm not going to spar with you. Obviously, there's a bit of a level difference at the minute there. I says, so I'll train you if you want. Oh, I sound and do that. So we trained, and give him his due, like he was like a sponge. He picked it up really, really quickly. And I trained him for like 3 months. And he trained more with me than Colin at the time because he says, well, I'm learning more boxing. Well, I says, well, you will if I'm learning you to box. If Colin's teaching you to do Muay Thai and MMA, you need to learn to box if you're going to box. So he started training every night after work with us, and then I didn't actually walk him down the ring, but he made the walk, and then he with these white collar ones, and then he went and got 2 wins. But again, it was a big experience for me because I told him he's like my height and he was walking around with 70 kilo. And I say, lad, you're a 62 kilo fighter, like 62 kilo, you're mad. And I say, like, people don't realise how small lean mass is. He's like 70 kilo, you couldn't see his abs and that, but you could see like the top lines. And I say, you're still carrying quite a bit of water and body fat there, lad, for how big you are and how big you're not. Don't fight above 70, whatever you do. And he ended up going down to 60. He was wanting to fight at 70 and he went down to 64 when I was training him. He got 2 lovely wins, but then he fought at 70 and he got quite a devastating loss, unfortunately, which wasn't nice to see at all. So yeah, it's just, again, learning, but when he went in, he was quite heavy and he hit hard, but I think, again, a lot of the thing is, I'd rather fight heavier and hit harder, it'll be fine, I'm going to a fight. If you're fighting at 70 kilo, a lot of the time you're fighting someone that's like 80 kilo, 85, and they're cutting down. So that's why I'd say, you're a little lad, you need to stay under 65, like. But that was kind of the first one where I was really proud of him because he dropped his ego straight away. Me and him, I thought we were going to be like, I was looking forward to giving him a bit of a fucking kicking, if I'm honest with you, mate, because he was being a bit of a dick when I first met him. But I can come across as a dick, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, But when we got to meet each other, we got on really well. And I love Simon a bit. Like, he's a good lad. He's very direct, but he's got a heart of gold, and he's just a business-orientated kid, and likes to earn money. Likes the finer things in life. Nothing wrong with that. And just direct with people. You think I'm direct. He can sometimes, me and him, I was like, but he was my boss, so you've got to take your licks, I suppose, now and again. Cause
I remember when you said about the licks there, I remember you said one of the younger kids came in, his nose was bleeding off, getting popped in the nose, and the parent was going, well, his nose is bleeding. He went, you were just like, well, if you go swimming, do you get wet? Yeah. Well, this is a fighting. Guess what's going to happen?
I think it goes back to people being a bit unrealistic. I think what they're bringing them in for, I sometimes think it's a youth club, and we've got to sit them down and explain, look, you're at nursery, you're at kickboxing. So, one of the parents or the Ben had a mark on his arm the other day. I mean, it's sparring, they're training for a fight and they're getting kicked with shinies on. They're going to learn. We're not a hard contact gym, as you know. I don't believe in it. It just gives you brain damage in the gym. That's all you're getting. It's just, especially boxing, you're getting smashed in the head loads. You don't need to do that. You can train. You can train correctly and sensibly and go out there and put a really nice clinic on. I've seen it happen loads. But if you're going to start, like I said before, about accepting things way in advance. If you're going to fight, you need to accept, look, you're having a fight here. Forget about the event, because a lot of people, I've seen it loads, people will go, oh, it's an event first and a fight second. You're fighting, lad. It's an event for everyone else.
I'd agree.
You should be you're having a fight, like whether it's in the street, in the gym, in the park, in the ring, you're fighting. So forget about going out, in my opinion anyway, each to their own. But the ones that have the good performances are the ones that are sitting in the back, actually prepping properly and going out and doing the job. And then after the fight, then relaxing and going out and getting a drink or going home and eating some food or whatever they want to do. The ones that are sitting most of the time and taking it as an event first and all this, they don't put the best performances on and they don't take it for what it is. And when they get smashed and they get that, shooting pain in the back of the skull, eyes full of water, you can see they're like a cat in headlights. Because they haven't went through it and they don't expect it. Whereas if you expect all of that and you've dealt with it and you be realistic, then nothing's really going to surprise you. Same as with that. If you say, right, I'm going to a kickboxing gym, I'm going to learn, I'm going to practice, I'm going to upgrade, but I'm going to take the odd bumps, then it's going to be a much better experience for you. I've had parents, the kids have been doing fantastic, and then they've turned around and because they couldn't get one move, that was really hard to watch. It's a hard process to watch. What I would suggest is go and get a coffee, because they're not going to pick it up every time, and it's part of the process how they pick it up and learn from it anyway. Because if every time something hard happens to them, they give up, they're going to do that in life. So it's a good little form for them to say, well, look, I couldn't get this, I kept working on it, I started getting it, I took my time, took a step back, I learned from it, and then I start getting really good at it. And that's the same as anything. You know, it's the same as anything. You can't do it when you're lucky if you can do it straight away. So you take your time, you take a step back, and then you go with it, you know.
Is it, obviously you will have to have a lot of patience because some people can't pick it up as quickly as others. Is it ever a time you sort of lose patience, or do you just have to keep working with them, or, you know, does it ever become a bit, almost a behaviour problem if someone's just not listening? Because I remember once when we were drilling the hooks and I wasn't keeping my hand up, you told us, and I think on the fourth time you went, Liam, sake, like I've told you, keep your fucking hand up. And then, you know, sometimes it does take that little like thing.
Yeah,
I didn't take it offensively. It was like, you got like, sometimes it takes.
And with respect, lad, I don't care if you did. Because it's like, I'm there telling you for a reason. And there's a few reasons we care. We're seeing a lack of technique. It's my job. It's a reflection of me. And you want to be sure that you get value out of it.
Yeah.
So if you go home after 6 weeks of not doing that, you'll just end up not punching properly and you'll still look like dog shit. And I'm going, oh, well, he's paying us. You'll leave. So it's a mate to go, no, the kid wants to get better. That's part of the passion. And when I say dog shit, you don't look like dog shit. I'm saying it could still look like dog shit if you're not perfecting it. And then over time, you then start feeling like, actually, yeah, I'm getting something out of this. I then start saying that my work's coming into play because I'm making sure I'm keeping you accountable. But yeah, when it comes to them telling people, like, you've got to remember where you are as well. Like, I'm a good lad. I've got no ego about it. You know, Big Michael, you know, he's a big lad. Got lads like Noah, he's a big lad. Got lads like Nathan in there, huge 97 kilo lad. I taught them all the same as I taught a 42 kilo lad in there. I'm not there to shove me weight about on my authority, you know that. But I'm absolutely there to tell you when you're doing something wrong or right. And one thing I pride myself on is doing it the right way. Like that, I always, you know, I've never been aggressive. I'll not be like nasty, but I'll be direct and tell you that this is what I want. You know, this is why you're here. I got sent a meme the other day. One of the lads sent us that one where when coaches are pal, but then the timer starts. So someone's like talking away to him and he's like, yeah, go on. And he just like stops, hands at me stuff and like tells him to go. And I just try and be friendly, but make sure I'm firm with people, you know, like I say, lad. I think with the frustration side of things, it can come sometimes if I've got quite a bit, mate, you know what it is? I've seen where I started off and I've seen how long of a process what I touched on before. So I've got quite a lot of patience with people. Like I always get, oh, you've got the patience of a saint. You know, it's just because you've got to, I don't know, like, you've got to understand people are going to learn at different paces, and I think it's a little bit unfair to judge someone based on they're not picking up as quick as what Liam did. Yeah. You're into this. You interview fighters and coaches and you love it. It's something that you do. It's one of your hobbies. Not everyone's like you. You're a bit more of a hobbyist. You're not just a hobbyist where you do it, you're a bit more of a hobbyist. You know, not everyone's even half of you. So you've got to understand, mate, they're not watching MMA, they're not watching kickboxing or anything like that. They go to kickboxing or self-defense 1 week, 2 weeks, and 2 hours a week if they're lucky, and they don't even think about it before or after that. So you've just got to like take everyone at their own pace. And what it can get frustrating is when you see some, how do I say this politically correct? When you see someone that hasn't necessarily had the right guidance, or they haven't necessarily respected the parents that they should, and they start kicking off in the gym, and then you've got to put them in the place, and that can be a little bit irritating. But again, it's the same as anything, mate. It's a 3-strike rule. We'll ask you, we'll then remind you we weren't asking you, we're telling you politely. The 3rd time, I'll say that's the final time you're going to do it. I'm not going to ask again. The 4th time, you'll get yellow carded out my gym for a week. Your parents or you won't get a refund because it's your fault, not mine, that you wouldn't listen. It's a life lesson you need to learn. And if it continues, I'll kick you out the gym. Regardless as well, if I've trained you from novice. Back in the one frustrating thing I will say, but I did expect it, and I'm expecting you to do it again, is when I'm training them and people are seeing the level that some of them are getting from raw novices to then trying to poach them. Like I already know there's been 2 gyms, which I won't mention, who's tried to poach a little lass I've got in there called Bella. She
is fucking handy for a lass, like, to be fair.
I've trained her up from like in boxing, and she's easy semi-pro level now. How old is she, by the way? She's 15. But she's, I mean, I don't know if you know Liam, but I'm sorry to patronise there if you do know this. I hate to say it. I don't know if you know this, mate, but You don't get, I mean, you do have to an extent, but you can buy a pro license, and I mean, you don't have to,
Yeah.
you do have to obviously fight through and things like that, but it's not like you have to have hundreds of amateur fights. You could have a handful of fights and then go pro. An amateur will still beat yours. Do you know what I mean? Who's had a lot of fights. There's a difference between pros and pros. And all she needs to do is keep training, and it's not if, it's when she'll be on Sky Sports.
I agree with that.
It's not if, it's when she'll get a contract. We just need to get a handful of, we'll look at a few different things with Bella, but yeah, you get people poaching them, and I knew that would happen before the gym opened up. But when it happens, it's kind of like saying, oh, well, we'll brace for it, but when it happens, we'll deal with it. And then when it does happen, it's like, you still want to, part of you feels like going around to the coaches and like saying like, if you want to be a snake and try and poach me, just message me and ask us instead of poaching me members, because they'll show us the message, which they have twice. And you feel like messaging the gyms and that, but it's like, maybe 25-year-old Carl would have, but that's why I opened the gym when I was a bit older, because I've got that bit more life experience. And that can get frustrating because I've had people jump ship, I've had people be disloyal, and that's a big thing for me. You starve with the people that you eat with, and you eat with the people that you starve with, and all the sayings you've heard, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, all this other stuff, but loyalty's big for me. I despise disloyalty, just be real, I'd rather have five brothers in your life than 500 fickle people that really don't know us. But that can be frustrating, mate, when people are trying to poach. And you just think, well, look, they'll generally go to another gym, see that they're probably just going to be a number in another gym, or they get lucky and go to a really high level gym where the coach looks after them, and that can happen. I've told the lads in the gym, don't be butthurt too much if that happens to you, because it might. But generally, if you've got a relationship with someone, mate, and your coach will tell you, it's about building relationships and not just having numbers in your gym. I'd rather have a gym full of 650 people in the gym rather than 2,000 just numbers who I've got no relationship with. I'd rather my coaches have a relationship with 100 people each than just be coming in on and stop watching people coming in and going as they please. Because as I said, mate, for me anyway, you want to earn a living off it, but it's me passion, it's something I love. And once I've got enough disposable income in whatever I do in life to have a life for me, me missus and me future kids and me dogs and me house, that's all I want. I don't need millions, and I'm not going to keep on. I've seen it ruin people, mate, chasing money and that. And I just think find balance with stuff. The frustrating things as well. Understand it's going to happen. But just have to, a few people have left and they've came back because they've went, oh, well, the gym wasn't as good, or just I think what's happened is they've walked in and they realised that they haven't got that kind of bond that they have with me. And if someone coming to my gym from another gym, they wouldn't have the same kind of bond with me as they have with their coach. And I think that's a lot of the thing that gets you to go to the gym. Or it used to be with me. I think a lot of the time I don't realise how if you just pat someone on the back, and I never do it fake. I'm never going to be fake with that. But if I just pat someone on the back and be like, yeah, lad, that's good, really well done tonight. It goes a mile.
It does that.
And you don't realise, and I think it's important not to fake it. And sometimes you want to. You can see someone, I remember you had a bad night once, your head was battered, we won't go into why. You told us afterwards, and I've told you, I says, I come with spar the night, and you hadn't been in for 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe. Come with spar the night, you had your eyes were like you wanted to, like I owed you money, like you were going to beat me up. And I was like, are you all right? And you're like, I just want to spar.
I remember that.
And I had to remind you, I had to say, Liam, look, you can spar, but you're not coming in here to fight people. You look like you're in a bad mood. No, I'm all right. I says, you're not. And I says, oh, well done. And you pissed us off because you walked away and you went, I says, oh, nice one, Liam. You've done well there. Which you did, compared to what you were. And no, I didn't. And I says, I'm not asking you, I'm fucking telling you done well. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not putting it on you. When you deserve to be told you've done something well, I'll tell you when you didn't. But at the same time, you then were in a bad mood. And me and you sparred, and you nearly took my head off. That's why I didn't want to put you in with someone new, because I didn't want that happening. But then we had a bit of a ding-dong, and obviously you were sound about it, and that and then was sound. But these are the things that can happen. You can come in frustrated and that, and but in terms of finding balance with it, mate, I just think people do them. I'm going to keep on always pushing and helping people, and then people will come and go as they please, and I think we'll find a home where people do. Remember one coach used to say to me, lad, not often, but they'd come up now and again, you don't want your arse licked, but they'll come up, lad, nice one tonight. you listened last time and that, and you're like, you go home and you'll be driving home, you think, oh, nice one, put you on a bit of a high, you know.
Yeah.
So as far as frustrations, mate, I think that's my biggest one. But again, I'm 35 now, mate, not 25, and I've seen the other side of work, and I hated sales at centres around the world and give us a great life and that, but I hated it. I was all right at it. But my dad told us from day one, if you're lucky enough in life to be good at something, do it.
Yeah.
And if you're even luckier that you enjoy it, then stick at it forever. Yeah. And I never enjoyed sales, but I was all right at it. It wasn't like, and I'm a tadpole in the ocean compared to some people. But I knew how to speak to people.
Yeah.
And get on their level to some extent, which has helped us with this.
Yeah.
But I hated it. You know, I was in that rat race. Whereas this, it's not even like work. I've not worked for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And I think finding that balance with frustration helps, because 100%. I couldn't be sitting here saying this to you about sales.
Yeah.
And, I get frustrated, I'll just deal with it. No, do you know what I mean? It used to ruin me day, like. So
before we wrap it up, I always like to ask this one question towards the end. What is the most important lesson that martial arts or combat sports has taught you?
Just be real. If I'm honest with you, mate, just being real. I think it brings it out of you. I think martial arts is one of the, especially jiu-jitsu, it's one of the ones you have to be honest. It keeps you honest. I think people's personality comes out when they fight and sport. And I think it's just taught us over life to be humble and just know my place in the world, really. I've trained a lot of years. I've trained with people who haven't trained half as much as me and handed me arse to us because of the talented, the bigger, the sadder. And you, when you're young, you question yourself on that and you go, hey, how's that happening? I'm pretty handy. I'm training all the time, and then I had a really short, close round with him a few times there, and it wasn't just one-off round, and that kind of helped us over time find balance and realise where I sit in the universe. And there's weight divisions for a reason. Could Mighty Mouse beat Ngannou? Probably not. You know, could GSP beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match? Probably not. You know, so it's all these little things, and I think it's really, really helped us define who I was. You know, know where I stand with people, and just be open, and just like you've seen, you know, you'll always say pretty direct call. It's weird for me to hear that, mate, because I'm just me. You know, you're pretty this, you're pretty that. Oh, you're pretty. When did you realise you were? I don't even think of myself as handy. Yeah, I just think of myself as a train. You know, I think that's what it's done for us. It's given us a lot of. It's opened my eyes and made us just be real. Me missus likes it, but she says I love how you always yourself around everyone. I never change. You know, am I like this in the gym? Yeah, I'm the same. I probably swear a bit more. I'm trying to mind my P's and Q's a bit. But I sometimes don't. I tell you what I don't like, man. I go home some nights and I bloody cringe. It's like Liam, one of the lads is training, like you there, telling us there, but I cringe a little bit before, and you were like, get your fucking hand up. I don't like carrying that back sometimes, and I've been quite harsh on my pals and that, but Joe had recorded some of the sparring with one of the lads that day, and I'm in the background and see you and I'm like, get your hands up in that, and I'm like, and then I had to text him saying, Liam, I'm really sorry, like Liam McGinley, and he's like, mate, I know that's our love, but you're just like, I just care. Yeah. You know, I just care about you, mate, so I want you to do well. Mint. Well, green be the slogan for the episode, keeping it real. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Great chat. Cheers, Liam.